Fallout has always pretended to be a story about bombs. Mushroom clouds, ruined cities, and the long shadow of nuclear war are the franchise's most recognizable symbols. But Fallout Season 2 quietly reveals something far more unsettling. The apocalypse wasn't just caused by weapons, it was engineered by systems of control that no longer needed their creators. And at the center of that revelation is cold fusion, not as a power source hidden in a vault, but as something far more disturbing. Cold fusion was never lost. It was never stolen. And it was never meant to belong to any single faction. It was carried, embedded, and passed along like a virus inside Hank. Hank was never a courier. He was the container. Season 2 reframes Hank entirely. For most of the story, he appears to be another middleman, a man running errands between larger powers, shuttling secrets from one place to another. But the truth is more horrifying. Hank wasn't transporting cold fusion technology. He was cold fusion technology. By hiding it inside his body, Vault-Tec achieved something revolutionary. They eliminated the risk of theft, rebellion, or sabotage. No vault raid could recover it. No enemy faction could seize it. Cold fusion was reduced to something non-negotiable, a living object that could be controlled, moved, and silenced. This turns Hank into what can only be described as a human vault. He embodies Vault-Tec's ultimate philosophy, survival through ownership. Not ownership of land or weapons, but ownership of people. When technology becomes flesh, consent disappears entirely. More importantly, this reframes the timeline. Cold fusion wasn't circulating after the bombs fell. It was already in motion before the world ended. Hank was part of the plan long before Wilsig ever touched the technology, long before anyone in the Wasteland had a chance to make a choice. The real deal between Vault-Tec and Mr. House. One of the most persistent myths in Fallout lore is that Mr. House was a weapons dealer who helped Vault-Tec profit from annihilation. Season 2 quietly dismantles that idea. House didn't sell nukes. He sold infrastructure. What Vault-Tec needed wasn't more bombs. It already had them. What it lacked was a way to outlast the end of the world. House's true contribution wasn't destruction, but continuity, brain-computer interfaces, predictive systems, and artificial governance. He offered Vault-Tec something far more valuable than firepower, a way to rule after the fire went out. In exchange, House wanted cold fusion. Not as a weapon, but as an engine. Las Vegas wasn't meant to survive the apocalypse by luck. It was meant to be powered beyond it. Cold fusion would allow House to build a city untouched by scarcity, time, or decay, a monument to control disguised as progress. This reframes the entire apocalypse as a business negotiation. Nukes were not the product. They were the leverage. The bombs were about narrative, not survival. Fallout Season 2 makes one thing brutally clear. The nukes were never just about wiping the slate clean. They were about owning the story of the future. By destroying the world in a single overwhelming event, Vault-Tec didn't just eliminate competitors, it eliminated alternative explanations. No one could argue who started the war. No one could trace responsibility. History collapsed into chaos, and chaos favors those who planned ahead. The nukes also served a geopolitical purpose. By triggering total annihilation, the U.S. effectively erased rival nuclear powers from relevance. There would be no survivors capable of challenging Vault-Tec's version of reality. The Wasteland wouldn't remember borders, treaties, or accountability, only whoever controlled the remaining systems. In this sense, the apocalypse wasn't the end of civilization. It was a hostile takeover. Barb's quiet betrayal. Barb is one of Season 2's most underestimated characters, precisely because her actions are subtle. She isn't loud like House. She doesn't posture like Vault-Tec executives. Instead, she redirects. When Las Vegas falls, cold fusion doesn't disappear. It changes hands, and that transition strongly suggests Barb intervened, not to save the world, but to prevent it from becoming singularly controlled. This isn't heroism. It's sabotage. Barb doesn't destroy the system. She fractures it. By allowing cold fusion to slip into Wilsig's possession, she ensures no single entity completes the plan as intended. Power becomes unstable again. Control becomes contested. But this raises a darker question. Did Barb act out of conscience or fear? Did she believe the system was wrong? Or did she simply realize she wouldn't be at the top of it? Fallout never gives us a clean answer because it doesn't believe in clean motivations. Cold fusion was never the endgame. The most chilling revelation of Season 2 isn't where cold fusion came from or who carried it. It's what happens after. Cold fusion doesn't save the world. It doesn't doom it either. It simply continues. This is Fallout's real thesis. Systems don't need intent to be dangerous. Once created, they persist. They adapt. They recruit new hosts. Vault-Tec, House, Barb. None of them truly control what they unleashed. They're all replaceable. The technology survives them. The ideology survives them. The machine keeps running, even as its architects die. That's why Fallout isn't really about nukes. Nukes end things. Systems don't. Systems turn endings into prolonged suffering, repeating the same mistakes under new names. Hank's fate was inevitable. Seen through this lens, Hank's story stops being tragic and becomes inevitable. He was never meant to choose. His role was written into him, literally. A man stripped of agency, repurposed as a vessel, and discarded when convenient. The cruelty isn't that Hank suffered. It's that his suffering was efficient. Vault-Tec didn't hate him. It didn't fear him. It simply optimized him. And that's the most terrifying idea Fallout Season 2 introduces. The apocalypse wasn't caused by malice, but by optimization. Every decision was logical. Every atrocity was justified. Every human cost was acceptable. The world didn't end, it was rebranded. By the end of Season 2, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The world didn't really end. It was restructured. Cold fusion, nukes, vaults, cities, people. All of them are interchangeable parts in a system that values continuity over humanity. Survival is no longer about living well. It's about functioning long enough to be useful. Fallout isn't warning us about nuclear war. It's warning us about what happens when systems outgrow morality, when progress detaches from consent, and when power no longer needs justification. Cold fusion wasn't hidden in a vault because it didn't need to be. It was hidden in a man. And that tells us everything about the future Fallout is really afraid of.